All right, sit across the table from Xi Jinping. Give me the hard questions.
LGBTQ.
What's up?
You heard me?
I actually didn't.
LGBTQ.
Yep, what about it?
Yeah, you just said there was nothing about transgender. LGBTQ is a serious situation in this world today. There are children that get bullied because they are gay, they are lesbian, they are transgender. What is your stance on LGBTQ?
Good. Thank you for your question. I'm going to answer it. I'm going to go into a level of depth that I don't usually go into on a campaign trail, but I'm going to do it because you asked the question. You deserve an answer. LGBTQIA, there's so many letters, they've just added a plus at the end. That's where we are now. What's going on? So the same movement, because if we're going to call that one thing, let's play it fair. The same movement that said that the sex of the person you're attracted to is hardwired on the day you're born. That was the premise of the gay rights movement, for it to count as a civil right. That movement is now saying that your own biological sex is totally fluid over the course of your life.
Hypocrite.
You can't believe both those things. Well, I think I'm going to get to a deeper state. That's where I was about a year or two ago, but I think there's something deeper going on. I'll tell you what it is. So the same movement, and by the way, let's think about the women's rights movement in this country, which said there's many ways to be a woman. You can have long hair, short hair, you can wear a skirt, you can wear jeans. Now says that, oh, if actually you want to behave a certain way, that means you're a man. So I think that the hypocrisies go all the way down. And I'll tell you what's going on. You can't believe both of those things at the same time if you're operating according to principles of sheer logic. But you can if you're adopting a faith, a cult-like belief system. So this is controversial for me to say, but I'm going to tell you what I think. I believe that transgenderism specifically is a mental health disorder. I believe it's a mental health condition.
Okay.
Nobody cares what they think.
Well, no. We're going to finish this. This is good. We have to have open conversation in this country. But I don't think the compassionate thing to do.
Mental health disorder.
Well,
it's how they fucking feel.
Well, let me. I'm going to give you a chance to respond if you'd like. But we can't have an open debate in this country if we're not able to state our views.
That's how they feel.
That's how they feel. And you know what? I'll tell you a story, and you deserve to hear this. I met two young women in this race about 6 months ago. Their names were Chloe and Katie, two young women. They're in their 20s now. Both of them had their breasts cut off. One of them had her uterus removed.
Okay.
They're in their 20s. They regret that decision. One of them wants to have kids, she'll never have kids. The other one will never breastfeed her children. They'll never be the same because they had that done to them when they were teenagers. So no, when a young person shows up and says, my gender doesn't match my biological sex, they're asking for help.
But you just said 20. That's not
They happened to them when one girl was 13 when it happened to her. She's in her 20s now and regrets it. This is what's wrong in this country. We will look back at this and say this was barbaric that we allowed this to happen in this country. That is not compassion. That is cruelty. And so I don't think the right thing to do is, I'm not going to villainize those people. You don't villainize people who are going through suffering, but you have to be willing to say when a kid shows up and says, my gender doesn't match my biological sex, you have to be able to say, what else is going wrong at home?
Stopping it there, guys, and welcome to Mika Reaction Reviews. We're reacting to things on the internet, and today we are reacting to my boy Vivek. Yes, he dropped out of the presidential race, but he endorsed Donald Trump, so I don't know. I think there's rumors spreading around that he might be Trump's pick for VP, or maybe it's Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis has also dropped out of the race and endorsed Donald Trump. I still don't think this is the last what we've seen of Vivek, even during this election era, this election year leading up to the presidential race. I think even after we have not heard the last of Vivek. So I'm going to continue to react to Vivek, if that is okay with you guys. And today he's reacting to or responding to an LGBTQ activist, Heckler, someone in the audience who's asking him about the trans issue. And Vivek brought up some good points. The gay rights movement was started on the basis of you are born this way. Like that's, Lady Gaga's song, I'm born this way, you are born this way. I was born this way. But then with the new era of sort of the trans activist movement, it's now like it's completely and utterly fluid throughout life. You can feel this way 1 minute, you can feel this that way the next, and every single time you feel you might be a different sex or gender, that it should completely be adopted into society and everyone else's reality, and we should all fall in line. Usually that just means you have a personality. Most females sometimes feel really girly some days, and sometimes we don't feel as girly. It doesn't mean that we are feeling like a man one day and feeling like a woman the next. It just feels, that's that's how everyone is. That's like human nature, right? And then with the sort of gender stereotypes that the left kept trying to change and that the feminist movement kind of ran on, at least the first wave of feminism or the second wave of feminism, where you can be a woman and your femininity can look different for every woman. You don't have to always be girly. You don't always have to be super hyper feminine. You can wear pants, you can wear pantsuits, you can wear shorter pants, you can be into sports, you can drink beer, and you can still be a woman. But now with the trans community, it's saying like, well, but those are boy traits, so you might be a boy. Or there's a girl trait, so you might be a girl. But to be honest, like this is also kind of flipped on the other side, where the idea of a boy into girly things, that he's a sissy, he's a pussy, he's a girly boy, like this is kind of be a thing on both sides of the political spectrum. And that's why I think like with this overcorrection of the masculinity movement and stuff like that, you have to be a bit careful, because if you're telling boys this is what it's like to be a man, and if you're not like this, then you're like a woman, then you're just basically playing into the transgender ideology. You can be a boy and like things that are typically female things, and you can be a girl and you can like things that are typically male things. That doesn't mean you're the other gender or the other sex. It doesn't mean you're born in the wrong body. It just means your masculinity and femininity is different for you as an individual. He mentioned a couple of detransitioners. Chloe was the one name. I believe I know who she is. I think she's one of the people who's really going out and speaking loud and proud about her testimony and what happened to her and how she was sort of groomed and fast-tracked into the sort of trans teen trend, and she's doing a really good job. I think she might even have a lawsuit. I could be wrong about that, but I think some detransitioners do have a lawsuit going on right now, and I can't wait till more of the detransitioners come out and sue the fuck out of all these doctors, nurses, psychologists, so-called psychologists, even the fucking parents who let them do this shit. I can't wait, because we need to make an example out of people, not in a way that's going to harm them bodily. I'm not talking about violence. These people need to pay the price for what they've done to children, so other people realize it's not okay. Also, sorry if my energy seems kind of low. I literally just woke up. I'm about to jump on a bus and head to a different part of this country, and I had to get up early so I can record some videos for you guys. So sorry if my energy feels low, if I look a little tired in the face. I'm trying my best, guys. Please forgive me. And also, I shortened this video down to make it quicker, and I also sped it up. So no, they're not on crack. They're not on some amphetamine. I just sped it up a little bit because in the beginning there was a lot of pausing and stuff like that, trying to get this woman to talk. She was sort of just heckling from the crowd, and Vivek was trying to like encourage her to get up and talk. He's even offered her the mic a couple of times. If you wonder like, why can't I hear her? Why don't he put her on the mic? It's because she just kept denying the mic. Like he offered it to her and she wouldn't take it. But anyway, let's continue.
What else might be going wrong at school? Get to the bottom of what's going on. Help that person with compassion, with dignity. So my view is this: if you're an adult, you're free to live your life however you want, as long as you're not hurting somebody else. If you're a man, you can dress how you want. If you're a woman, you can dress how you want. Identify how you want. We're a free country, and I'm not going to stop you. But kids are not the same as adults. And we have to protect our children. And I'm going to go further than that. We can't change the way that women and men compete in sports. We can't do that. We can allow you to live your life the way you want to. But we can't change the way that we operate in our own life. And I'm going to finish this thought, and then you get to respond, because I think this is good. We don't do this enough. Open debate. I love this. I think what we've had in our country before is a tyranny of the majority, and that's what we worry about. But right now, we don't have a tyranny of the majority. What we have in this country right now is a tyranny of the minority. That's what we have right now, a tyranny of the fringe minority that tells you to shut up, sit down, and do as you're told. No, we have to stand for what is true. Something funny's happened, I think, in the last few years in this country with the civil rights movement. It's right when we get to closest to the promised land of true racial equality that we then start obsessing over systemic racism. It's right when we get to the point in our national history where whoever you are, you can marry who you want, where you want, if you want, whatever gender they are, that we start then obsessing over the sexual identity revolution. You know what's actually funny right now is many people who are lesbian or gay are being taught to say that, hey, if you're a woman attracted to a woman, you're not a woman, you're a man. So that's the transgender movement. The L and the G, first of all, don't have that much to do with each other. The G and the T don't have as much to do with each other. But we're clubbing all of these things up to create more division. I hate the term persons of color. You want to know why? You take 100 different cultures, combine them into one thing that's designed to be opposed to this other thing we call white. And so the way I view this is, you are free to live your life the way you wish to, as long as you don't hurt anybody else in return. And I'm free to do the same thing too. But that doesn't mean we change the way men and women compete in sports. That doesn't mean we change the way men and women, I don't think that just because you identify as a man doesn't mean that you're entitled to a trophy. You agree with me on that? You agree with me on that? You agree with me on that? All right.
That's different.
Because men should be swimming with women in women's sports competitions. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's
different.
That's what I'm talking about. And so we got to respect people and treat them with dignity. Every one of us is different. But all I'll say is kids aren't the same as adults, and if we can agree on that, then I think we at least made some progress tonight, and we'll have a step forward. So thank you, I appreciate that. And I respect her for asking that. That takes courage to stand up and be the only. You know what, I'll tell you this. When you're the only person in a room, and I'll come to you next, when you're the only person in a room who believes what you do, I will always tell you, stand up and say it. That's how we're going to get this country back, is actually all of us starting to speak openly again, and that's how we're going to get this country back. And I love your shirt. She's got an American flag, so you get the next question.
All right, guys, that was Vivek. I actually really liked that video. I liked the ending, how they kind of came together and agreed on something. And he's right. That is really what's missing in today's society, at least in the West, when it comes to just open debate and respectful, open debate. I had a commenter recently comment because they disagree with me on something, and then I clapped back and I disagreed with that person. But then the person came back and said, look, we might disagree on some things, but I still like the way your mind works. I respect you. And it doesn't mean just because I disagree with you, I don't respect you or something like that. And I'm totally okay with people on my channel disagreeing with me. I want people to disagree with me. The last thing I want is a bunch of viewers who are mindless sheep who just like bah at everything I say. Like, I want people to be critical thinkers and I want people to think for themselves. But what I don't want is this tribalistic, fall in line, rhetoric, religious ideology where you have to believe and agree on every single thing, and if you don't, you are the enemy. I was having a conversation the other day with someone where I was like, I don't know how America comes back for this weird populism, this tribalism, this cult-like thinking where one side literally thinks the other side is evil. Why would you want to have a conversation with someone you think is evil and destroying your countries and trying to harm your children, right? Having an open discussion and still disagreeing is totally fine as long as you're respectful about it. And in that disagreement and in that discourse, you might find that there's a lot of things you actually agree on. So, and I also agree with Vivek when he says it is hard to be the one person in the room that you know is the odd person out and still stick up and saying, I disagree. So I do applaud that woman for sticking up and saying, I disagree. And now they came to some sort of like agreement towards the end. When Vivek was talking about how like, we have the tyranny of the minority because they were afraid of the tyranny of the majority because that's how it used to be. And this is the whole like every road to hell is paved with good intentions. I do think that that's how it started off. Again, with the civil rights movement, with the gay movement, with the feminist movement, it was like, hey, we're the minority. We feel like we're being oppressed when it was true oppression. We want to stick up for ourselves and say the majority can't just be our dictators and tell us how to live our lives. But now it's sort of switched over where it's like the tyranny of the minority where the entire society has to bend over backwards and bend truth and reality just to fit a tiny minority, not even the minority, but the tiniest minority. And I'm not saying that minorities shouldn't be treated equal, but you shouldn't get special treatment where we deny biology, science, and reality. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think of this, Vivek, the conversation surrounding about gender and sexuality and LGBTQ plus and trans and all that stuff. And tell me if you still like Vivek and if you still want to react to him because you think there's not the last we've seen of him, if you think he's a good voice to the culture war and all that stuff. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell to get notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you like to support this channel, you can donate. My PayPal me link, and I think I might start putting my Cash App link down below as well. It helps really keep me on this platform, guys. And you guys have an amazing, beautiful day.